now we're going to model this screwdriver case. Okay, so this was made by Craftsman, and it was manufactured using injection molding. So we are going to build an approximation of this. So we're not so much worried about dimensions. We are going to be more worried about proportions. We want to use some new features / tools, and we want to make it so that it looks like that object. All right, so we're going to create a new design file, 134 folder, part modeling base, and then we're going to create a new component called screwdriver base. All right, so I made a part modeling features, and now I'm going to create a new component, and I'm going to title it screwdriver base. All right, so now let's continue. So what we are going to make is a pentagon sketch, and then we are going to use the extrude tool, but we are going to taper it inwards. Okay, so I'm going to make a sketch on this surface, and I am going to make a, doesn't really matter, we'll make an inscribed polygon. We'll make it about, I don't know, I'm going to make it about this big. I'm going to hit tab and make it 5. Okay, so yours does not have to be the exact same size. It will be fine. I'm going to make, this will be fine. All right, so finish sketch. All right, so now we have this pentagon, whatever particular size. We're going to extrude it upwards. If we look at this shape on here, we don't get extruded that much, but it tells you it wants you to taper it about 45 degrees. So remember this angle, if it's outward, it's going to be positive. It's negative if it's inward. So about 45. I'm going to maybe reduce to about there. All right, so that is my shape. And it looks like it is tapered. All right, so next is we are going to make another extrusion from the top and basically just taper it just a little bit. All right, so we are going to extrude this surface, and we are going to move it up. We'll look and see approximately, okay, so about that, and then we will taper it in just a little bit. So I'm just going to do 5 degrees, something like that. All right, so we are making progress. Now we are going to use the loft feature. Okay, so loft feature is super useful, but it's a little bit more advanced. You actually need 2 sketches in order to produce a loft. All right, we're also going to have to use the offset plane tool. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to construct and use the offset plane. Okay, so I'm going to click on offset plane, and I'm going to click this surface, so the top surface, and move it up a little bit. So let's see how far up in the picture it looks like. That's probably fine. I'm actually going to reduce it a little bit to about here. Okay, and then I'm going to hit OK. Now, I am going to make a sketch on this new plane. So it's very important that we're not like this. We want to make sure we are clicking the surface of the plane. Now, what we want to do is If you center this polygon, then you should already have a dot right here. And if that's the case, that's excellent. If you didn't, we can project the geometry. All right, so this is a good chance to project some geometry. So I'm going to go to Create, Project, and I am going to click all these so that we, on the sketch now, do you see how the sketch is now including those lines? All right, so now those are there. So now what we are going to do is we are going to make a center point on here. All right, so let's see if it intersects where we think it's going to. So how we do this is we are going to make some, so we can click OK, and then we are going to make some lines. All right, so we're going to go from here over to here. We are going to go from here over to here, here, over to here, and here, over to here. Now, this pretty much tells us where the center is. I think that's a very good enough approximation. If we wanted to make it perfect, we could then go to Constraints and go to Perpendicular, and you could click, and sometimes it's just going to automatically get there. So I think this is good enough. All right, so we are then going to make a circle at that center point. So if we look how big of a circle, we're going to make it just a little bit smaller than the overall pentagon. So we're going to click circle at that point, and we're going to go out to, about right here. Okay, then we should be able to finish sketch. Now let's look. Now we have a circle that is above this plane. So now we are going to create a loft. So if you go to Create and then go down to Loft. All right, so we need two surfaces. So I'm going to click this surface to begin with. And then I'm going to click this surface right here. Okay, let's look what it did. It looks like it's reasonable. So and make sure it's joined. You don't want a new body. You want it joined to this body. Okay, so if we click OK, so again, I clicked the bottom surface and then I clicked the circle up here. We have now a shape that starts to get a little bit more interesting. All right, back to our sketch, or back to our instructions. So we made our loft. So now we want to use a slight tapered extrusion up. Okay, so it looks like, I don't know how much. We'll say fillet this. We'll move it up maybe about that much. We'll give it a slight, we'll stick with the 5 degree, which I think is fine. And now we're here. So next, add a small round fillet on the top edge of the cylindrical extrusion. All right, so we go to fillet and we do a little one, maybe a 0.1. So now we have this. Go back to our sketch. All right, so now we are going to get into the shell feature. All right, so the shell feature allows us to scoop out some of the overall shape. So what we're going to do is what we would want to scoop out is the bottom. So if we move it over and then go to Modify and shell, we should be able to click the bottom, and we could leave it as a nice little 0.1. And what that does is basically scoop out the inside. So it's a very useful thing, and we will use this eventually. But the problem is we're still going to add stuff to the top of it. And if we made holes in it now, those would it would just fall right through. So what we're going to do is I'm going to delete this shell feature. Okay. And we're going to come back to that shell feature. So it's easy to do, but we're going to delete that for now, delete the shell feature, and we are going to add a short tapered extrusion and make sure it flares out from the bottom. All right, so we're going to go here. I'm going to click extrude, and it's going to be a short one like that, and we are going to flare it not inward, outward. All right, does it say 3 degree? So it says 3 degree. We've been using 5 degrees, so I say either is okay, but if we want to be perfect, we'll do that. All right, so now we have our little bit of base. Okay, so that's good. Now model the center hole on the top of the base part. Okay, the center hole is a blind hole. The center hole extends almost to the bottom edge of the hexagonal form. All right, the hole cut should be tapered inward as the depth into the part increases. Use a 2 degree taper. Okay, so if we do that, what we can do is we will click a sketch on the surface, and we will make a hole in the middle. Make it approximately what we want. I don't know, about that much. Let's look at the shape. Actually, I think it's a little bit bigger than that. So we'll hit dimension and just make it a little bit bigger. So maybe a 0.6. And then finish sketch. So now we are going to extrude this down. So it's going to be a cut. We want it so that it doesn't go all the way through. So maybe down to here. And we want to taper it in just a little bit. That's too much. Does it say a 2 degree taper? Yep, 2 degrees. So we want to adjust this to -2. So now that's good. All right, so if we do this, we will see a hole in the top that is tapered down to the bottom. Okay. Now what we want to do is we want to pattern a hole. So we're going to model 1 hole at the top, and then we're going to make 5 holes around. So let's make a sketch on the surface. And if you made it in the center, this will be really easy. We can just go up to the middle up here, and I'm going to make it a 0.33 hole. I think that's about the right size. And we are then going to extrude it down. All right, we can make that also a little bit of a tapered hole. Okay, so maybe not 2 degrees, but we will finish that sketch and we will extrude that down to the same height as our other one. So we don't want to go all the way down. We want to go to there, and then we will move it in. Let's see what it looks like if I give it a -2. I'm actually going to go to -1. There we go. All right, so we'll do that. So now we have a hole and a middle hole. And now we're going to use that circular pattern. So we're going to go to the pattern, circular pattern. And instead of a face, we are going to pattern a feature. So you can do it a couple ways. You can try to click on it like that, or you can go down to this and click this. This is probably easier. All right, then you click the axis you want to rotate around, which is this one. And we look and see how many we want to make, which I believe is 5. So we're going to make 5 holes like that, and then we click OK. So now we look at it and say, this would also be a wonderful time to save since we've done a ton of stuff. Now let's go back and see if there's anything else we need to do. Oh, we got to shell it now. All right, so once we shell it, and all of ours will look slightly different. If you notice in here, they made them slightly different heights. For us, I think I made them all the same height, which is also fine. So we're going to go over here and we are going to press shell and we're going to click, and I'm going to make it about 0.1. So what that did was basically scoop out all the extra stuff. So now once you're there and you see, now you see all those features right there. So we just saved a bunch of material. All right, so now we could add text or other symbols to the surface of your model in 2 ways, emboss or engrave. All right, so embossing text raised above the surface, engraving is carved into it. So we could do this if we want to. So we'll do what the overall shape looks like. So if you see up here, there was a craftsman right there. So we'll type in craftsman. And on that surface, it looks like it was embossed. So we will click sketch on that surface and we will put some text in there. And we will type in craftsman. Okay, so that's a little bit big, so we can adjust the size to maybe 0.2. That looks reasonable. I'm going to make it bold. And we're going to click OK. I'll finish that sketch, and then we will extrude that out. But I think what we have to do first, so we're going to go back to this sketch. We have to explode the text. All right, so if we explode that text, now when we do this, we should be able to click on all of that. Oh, let's see if I can cancel. Let's rotate that around. And now we click on all of it. And we should be able to extrude it out a distance of 0.05 maybe. So something pretty small. And then click OK. So that, we're going to have to adjust that. But that's enough for the video right now.